From tomorrow onwards, I'll be live by 7 o'clock. So 7 to 10 o'clock will be continuously doing sessions because exams are closed. Okay, so 7 will start, 7 to 9 will have one session. Then 9 to 11, after that we will have a break. After 9 we have a break of at least 30 minutes. And from 9:30 to 11, that is around 1/2 an hour, we will have another session. So first session, these sessions will be on the subject mostly on forensic medicine and community medicine, internal medicine or general medicine, general surgery, pediatrics, psychiatry, on all these subjects. Okay, so now today we'll be dealing with the important, our favorite thing is forensic medicine. And now let's begin with asphyxia. So forensic medicine is not just related to autopsy, but it gives much knowledge about general medicine also. So now let's begin with the mechanical asphyxia. So I'm using the standard books for these podcast. So our podcast will begin continuously. Like I'll be continuously having the live session, taking the live sessions. So today is 5th May. From 5th May to end of this month, 30 May, we'll be continuously doing the podcast between 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. with a break of half an hour between 9 to 9:30. I'll try. This total time is 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 2 hours, and then 9:30 to 11, 2 hours, 1 hour. So approximately 3.5 hours we'll have daily podcast. Okay, on different topics, different aspects we'll be discussing. So today the most important and topic is mechanical asphyxia. It's very important in forensic. Another announcement I want to do is we'll try to complete the standard books like Hutchinson, Baby and Love, and other books. Other than this, we have Robbins. So we'll do those important books. Okay, and these books are really good. So let's start. So our goal is before 15th of May, like by 15th of May, we'll try to cover most of the topics of forensic, community medicine, and general medicine and general surgery, pediatrics, and obs gynae. These are the core subjects. So we'll try to cover this. Meanwhile, other than these, we'll like our plan is by the 8th of May, like 5, 6, 7. Like we have approximately 2 days complete to complete the forensic. So I'm planning to complete the entire forensic by 8th of May. By 8th of May, and then by 9th of May, we'll try for community medicine, internal medicine, surgery, pediatrics, obs gynae. So our core subjects are these: internal medicine, general surgery, pediatrics, obs gynae, and forensic and community medicine. These 6 subjects will be our core focus, because other subjects like anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry will be likely or indirectly will be covered in general medicine and general surgery, in obs gynae, pediatrics, again, pathology and pharmacology and microbiology. This will be covered. Meanwhile, okay, so let's move on to our mechanical asphyxia. So this session will be up to 10 o'clock. So just sit with your snacks and enjoy the podcast. You can have a cozy sleep, if not sleep, but a rest. Okay, so from 8:30 to 9:30 maybe, or 10 we'll try to conclude by 10. Okay, let's begin. Mechanical asphyxia. Mechanical asphyxia is a broad term in which enough external pressure is applied to the neck, chest, or other areas of the body, or the body is positioned in such a way that respiration is difficult or impossible. Hanging is that form of asphyxia. Hanging is that form of asphyxia which is caused by suspension of the body by a ligature which encircles the neck, the constricting force being the weight of the body. The constricting force is itself the weight of the body. The whole weight of the body is not necessary and only a comparatively slight force is enough to produce death. So this is the important point, how body is not necessary. Even in case of atypical hanging, what happens in atypical hanging? In atypical hanging, the body is partially hanging. It's not important that the body should be completely not in touch with the ground. If the body is in touch with the ground, even then the person can die of asphyxia. How it happens is because the weight is important for the constriction. Even 2 kgs of weight can compress the jugular vein. Okay, so it's not important. The entire weight of the body is necessary. 2 kgs, 5 kgs for carotid vein, carotid artery, 5 kgs, jugular vein, 2 kgs, 15 kgs for trachea, 30 kgs for cervical vertebra is necessary. It's just enough to compress. Okay, so hanging is that form of asphyxia which is caused by the suspension of the body by a ligature which encircles the neck. So yes, ligature is important here. A ligature can be of different types. It can be a soft one. It can be a hard one like a rope. It can be a cloth. It can be a wire which is very thin and sharp. Okay, so ligature can be different. So the suspension of the body here, the weight of the body is responsible. Entire weight is not required. Only few little weight it's just enough to cause the constriction and the death of the person. How do we classify hanging? Hanging is classified into, depending upon the degree of suspension, complete hanging and partial hanging. Complete is hanging in which the body is completely suspended without any part of the body touching the ground. The foot, the toes, nothing is touching to the ground, everything is away from the ground, body is completely hanging. Second is partial hanging. The bodies are partially suspended or in a sitting, kneeling, lying down, prone or any other posture with only the head and chest off the ground. Only the chest and head are off the ground. The remaining body is just lying on the ground. The weight of the head acts as a constricting force in this case. Just the weight of the head. Depending on position of knot, we have typical hanging and atypical hanging. Depending upon the degree of suspension, we have partial and complete hanging. Complete hanging, body is not at all touching the ground. Everything is above the ground. Partial hanging, at least chest and head should be away from the ground and remaining portion can be on the ground. The position can be sitting, kneeling, lying down, prone or any other position. Okay, here the head acts as a constricting force in partial hanging. Depending on position of the knot, typical hanging and atypical hanging. Typical hanging is the ligature runs from the midline above the thyroid cartilage symmetrically upwards on both sides of the neck to the occipital region, and the knot is over the central part of back of neck. So in typical hanging, the ligature runs from the midline above the thyroid cartilage. So typical hanging above the thyroid cartilage, symmetrically upwards on both sides of the neck of the occipital region, and the knot is over central part of the back of the neck. So the knot is present at the back of the neck, near the occiput region. Okay. So the ligature, if you see the front of the neck, the ligature is above the thyroid cartilage. And it is symmetrically upwards on both sides of the neck to the occipital region. Okay. So the occiput is not crossed, it is symmetric. Like completely encircling it and to the occiput region, and the knot is at the back of the neck, central part of the neck. Okay, that is typical hanging. Atypical is the knot is any way other than the occiput, that is on the right, left side, or front of the neck. Okay, knot can be anywhere. Ligature. A suicide will use any article which is readily available from the purpose. A suicide will use anything which is readily available for the purpose, like a rope. It can be metallic chain or wires, leather strap, belt, bed sheet, scarf, dhoti, sari, turban, sacred thread, etc. It can be anything because it's an impulse to suicide. Okay, so the person can pick up anything and put themselves on hanging. So symptoms is the first symptom are the loss of power and subjective sensations such as flashes of light, ringing and hissing noises in the ear. With intense mental confusion followed by loss of consciousness within 15 seconds and a rope is used. Convulsions occur, the face is distorted and livid, eyes prominent, and there is violent struggling. Heart may continue to beat for 10 to 15 minutes after stoppage of respiration. Oh my god, it's very stressful. First symptom, loss of power, subjective sensations such as flashes of light, ringing and hissing noises in the ear, intense mental confusion. Because why intense mental confusion? Because of asphyxia, the oxygen is not reaching to the brain. So there's a loss of consciousness because within 15 seconds when a rope is used, and convulsions occur because of hypoxia, loss of supply of oxygen. The face is distorted, livid, eyes prominent, there is violent struggling. The victim struggles because of the around the knot, the marks present. Heart may continue to beat for 10 to 15 minutes after stoppage of respiration. Okay. Causes of death. Asphyxia. The constricting force of the ligature causes compressive narrowing of the lumens of larynx and trachea and forces up the roof of the tongue against the posterior wall of the pharynx. What is the cause of death? See, the cause of death is asphyxia. The constricting force of the ligature causes compressive narrowing of the lumens of larynx, trachea, and forces up the root of tongue against the posterior wall of the pharynx and force the epiglottis over the entrance of the larynx to block the airway. Third, because of the constriction, larynx and trachea lumens are narrowed and forces the root of tongue against the posterior wall of the pharynx and force the epiglottis over the entrance of the larynx to block the airway. A tension of 15 kg on ligature blocks the trachea. This 15 kg is required to block the trachea. This is the most common cause in complete hanging. Another is venous congestion. The jugular veins are blocked by compression of ligature, which results in stoppage of the cerebral circulation. This occurs if ligature is made up of broad and soft material which cannot sink into tissues to any depth. Jugular veins are closed by a tension in the rope of 2 kg. This 2 kg weight is not it's just enough to compress jugular vein. So the jugular veins are blocked by compression of the ligature, which results in stoppage of cerebral circulation. This occurs if ligature is made up of broad and soft material which cannot sink into tissues to any depth. The jugular veins are closed by tension in the rope of just 2 kg. Okay. Combined asphyxia and venous congestion, that is cerebral anemia. The pressure on large arteries on the neck produces cerebral anemia and immediate coma. Death will be slow. Asphyxial features are less marked. This occurs with ligature made of thin cord which sinks deeply into tissues. A tension of 4 to 5 kg on ligature blocks carotid arteries and 20 kg the vertebral arteries. This is much less common than venous occlusion. So cerebral anemia in which asphyxia and cerebral venous congestion is there. So in this case, the cord is thin. The ligature is thin cord. The ligature is thin cord, and it goes deeply into the tissue. And just 4 to 5 kg is enough for carotid arteries, 20 kg for vertebral arteries. So here the cord is thin. When the cord, when the with the ligature is made of a soft and broad material, then it cannot sink and it causes venous congestion of tubular veins. Reflex vagal inhibition from pressure on the vagal sheath or carotid bodies. Reflex vagal inhibition from pressure on the vagal sheath or carotid bodies, fracture or dislocation of the cervical vertebra. All of these causes may act independently or in concert. Reflex vagal inhibition from pressure on the vagal sheath or carotid bodies, fracture or dislocation of cervical vertebra. All of these may cause independently or in concert. So reflex vagal inhibition is the pressure on the vagal sheath or carotid bodies. It causes reflex vagal inhibition. Fracture or dislocation of the cervical vertebra can occur independently or both can occur one by one. Okay. Delayed death. Death delayed for several days is rare. Delayed death occurs due to aspiration pneumonia. See, suppose if the patient was saved from the from this hanging, then what happened? Delayed death, in which the patient suffers from aspiration pneumonia. Aspiration pneumonia, all the contents of the pharynx they enter into the larynx and goes into the lungs, like blood, fluids. Okay, so it is aspiration pneumonia. Infection, it causes infections, edema of lungs, edema of larynx, hypoxic encephalopathy, abscess of brain because oxygen is not reaching, infarction of brain, and cerebral softening. Cerebral softening. So this is delayed death. It's very serious, right? The patient is not completely dead, but he is between life and death. Cerebral softening, infarction of brain, abscess of brain, hypoxic encephalopathy. It's very dreadful condition for the patient and caregivers or family members. Fatal period. Death occurs immediately if the cervical vertebra are fractured or if the heart is inhibited. Rapidly if cause is asphyxia and least rapidly if coma is responsible. The usual period is 3 to 5 minutes. That's why the judicial hanging is the cervical vertebra, which C2 vertebra is fractured. It's judicial hanging. We'll discuss in detail further. Postmortem appearances. External. The ligature mark in the neck is the most important and specific sign of death from hanging. Ligature mark on the neck depends on composition of ligature. The pattern, texture produced upon the skin. Example, if thick rope is used, its texture may be impressed in the form of superficial abrasion. Width and multiplicity of ligature. A ligature is narrow, a deep groove is made. A broad ligature will produce only a superficial mark. The ligature is passed twice around the neck. A double mark, one circular and the other oblique, may be seen. Weight of the body suspended and the degree of suspension. The weight of the body suspended and the degree of suspension. Heavier the body and greater the portion of the body suspended, the more marked is the ligature impression. The weight of the body suspended and the degree of suspension. Heavier the body, greater the portion of the body suspended, the more marked is the ligature impression. Tightness of encircling ligature. The ligature impression is the deeper opposite of the point of suspension. The length of time body has been suspended. Longer the suspension, deeper is the groove. Position of the main force applied to the neck by ligature is opposite to the point of suspension. If the point of suspension is in occiput region, front of the neck is involved. If in front, the depth of the groove is limited posteriorly by cervical spine. Slipping of ligature during this frequently only the portion adjacent to the knot moves. There is tendency for the ligature to move upwards, this being limited by the jaws. The upward movement may produce double impression of ligature. The lower mark is usually very superficial because of the movement of the knot. Knot, a slip knot, running noose, is produced by attaching a rope to itself, creating a loop. Am I audible? Yeah. So Knot. A slip knot running nose is produced by attaching a rope to itself, creating a loop which can be tightened to produce a running nose. Uh, Running nose is such a way that the luggage, the rope or the luggage which is there, it is made in such a way that the nose, the knot is moving. The knot is moving, and it gets tightened based on the weight of the body. It gets tightened and getting closer to the neck. Okay, a blind knot is the knot in which rope passes at least once around the neck and is held in place by two ends of rope being knotted together. This reduces the fixed nose. In fixed nose, the knot is very tight and it will not move. Reef knot is a flat knot used in tying reef points consisting of two loops passing symmetrically through each other that will not slip. Granny knot is a knot like reef knot but asymmetric, apt to slip or jam. Reef knot is a flat knot used in tying reef points consisting of two ropes. Passing symmetrically through each other that will not slip. Granny knot is similar to that but it is asymmetric. Noose is a loop with running knot, okay, which ties the firmer the closer